Hello, Scott Eustis, Community Science Director for Healthy Gulf here, speaking to the Mapping Justice students about a potential project to help us track oil wells and oil spills in the Gulf of Mexico and protect our whale friends that need a clean ocean to live in. One of the things we're faced with in 2025 is a lot of ancient oil wells from my grandfather's time. There's a lot of orange dots on this map. And for 10 years, we have not done a good job as a nation taking old oil wells that are often leaking methane into our climate and oil into our water. We need to hire oil workers to take them, to stop the leaks and take them out of the water. There's just been thousands and thousands of wells and platforms that don't produce any energy anymore now that the United States is very into promoting fracking. And they've just been left as idle iron, we say. But they just start leaking. They start leaking methane, they start leaking oil. And it's the work of a generation to pull these thousands of structures out of the Louisiana and federal waters. We've been drilling in the Gulf of Mexico or Gulf of America, whatever you want to call it. There's a lot of work out there to do. We've been drilling for a while, but the oil has started to run out. You see there's fewer and fewer efforts to drill off the coast going into 2008. And then after that, just less and less activity. In Louisiana, we have a culture of oil work, but we have oil workers with no oil work. And all of these wells end up owned by companies in Texas. And, they're not producing as much. The company is likely to fire all of the workers. And that's what's happened in Louisiana. The oil companies, largely in Texas, have fired over 20,000 oil workers. And because we don't have those hands on steel, the steel begins to break and blow out. This is last month in a place called Garden Island Bay. It is a beautiful place full of wonderful wildlife. There's also 250 derelict oil wells, and one of them popped off. You can see this is a picture of the Coast Guard response vessel spraying water onto the orange plume of explosive gas to stop the well from catching fire so that the response could saw it and plug it, fill it full of cement, and take it out of the ocean. We did this 10 years too late. This well had not produced any oil since the 90s and maybe the 60s. We're still looking at the records. And that's what we need help with. We need students who are interested in looking at the government inspection records, because if we had done so before this blowout, we would have seen that this oil field was rife with a lot of spills and problems that needed oil workers to fix them. And when we talk about social justice and the preferential option for the poor, putting the needs of our countrymen and women with less means first, in the waters of the Gulf in Louisiana, we have to consider the impact upon our Native American peoples. This is a map of the United Homa Nation jurisdiction across 6 parishes, like counties, parishes in southeastern Louisiana. And what you can see in the green Homa Nation areas where they have their government and tribal council. There are many, many orange dots, many, many unplugged wells that could repressurize and leak oil. So there's been a lot of study of this. There's a paper by Dr. Hemmerling and Jessica Parfait called Tracing the Flow of Oil and Gas, if you want to read more about the longer history of Louisiana's Native American population and these oil spills. But it's something that, when we're thinking about our climate and our ability to continue to live in Louisiana, we really have to consider the Native American areas first. And when we look at that, we find a lot of leaks. These are data from a program called Carbon Mapper, looking for methane leaks across the United States. In the 100 surveys that they did in the 6 parishes of southeastern Louisiana, the average methane plumes from those 100 surveys was twice the average for the nation in general. So there's many other places where methane is a problem. West Texas, Bakersfield, California, a lot of these are maybe not English-speaking areas in the cases of those. But here we also have a problem in the ocean, in areas where Native Americans and all the other Americans fish. You can see that we have so many more orange dots on the state side of the line, but when those orange dots leak, they pollute the federal ocean and they pollute areas where this sperm whale resides in the Gulf of Mexico. And you can look at it as a negative, and you can think about it. You can get kind of down about what we haven't done in the 10 years past. Or you can think about the future and how this is an opportunity to finish the job. It's an opportunity to put people back to work. There's enough wells out there to provide employment for 2,000 people for over a decade. And we are a place, Louisiana, where people want these jobs. People expect these jobs to be here, but because it's not really profitable for the oil companies in Texas, they don't want to employ Louisiana oil field hands. So we've got to put pressure on them, and we do that by searching well records for oil leaks, because we have 10,000 records to search. But when we do so, we can find inspection reports that are full of red ink and have photographs of oil leaking into the ocean. And we bring these inspection reports to the attention of the federal and other agencies, because there are a lot of agencies looking at oil sheens on the water of Louisiana, but don't know the source. So we need your help databasing these sources of oil spills so we can go out and this is the national, satellite surveys. There are folks in Florida, in Washington, D.C., keeping watch on satellites for oil sheens upon the waters. There are state inspectors, but they don't necessarily talk to one another. So our project is to try to map out the intersection of these orange dots and these oil sheens. And there's so much data out there. The government and the public is just overwhelmed. And if you help us, you can help the water, and you can put people back to work plugging these wells, taking the steel out of the ocean so it's safe for our whales to swim, and help us go out and confirm leaks on our field trips. This is me with a methane leak analyzer confirming a methane leak in Bastion Bay. Or we do aerial overflights on the same kind of well reports, following up and doing our own personal inspections so we can do, but we don't know where to fly. We don't know where to send the boat without mapping justice students to help us database the sources. So I really hope you join us electronically or in person in New Orleans over the summer. My name is Scott with Healthy Gulf, and help us watch the water and finish the job. Thanks.